Maarten knew he wasn't the fastest swimmer in the race. In fact, there were 3 swimmers faster than him, but it was the first time Maarten was participating at the Olympic Games. So he had to do something crazy if he wanted to win. The story I'm about to tell you is truly amazing. I'm not going to pretend like Maarten was my childhood hero. I'm ashamed that I didn't know anything about Maarten before making this video. Probably because at the time, in the 2008 Olympics, there was another more famous swimmer writing history in the pool. All the attention went to him. I don't regret learning about him just now. At my age, 10 years after I stopped swimming competitively, he is a great role model. This is not a story about becoming the best swimmer in the world, which he did several times. This is a story about much more than that. Maarten had been in sports all of his life. He did athletics, football, skating, and volleyball, but his parents and his friends encouraged him to continue swimming because he was good at it. He says he probably enjoyed swimming exactly for that reason, just because he was good at it. I think that happens to a lot of competitive swimmers. It's not that we love swimming, it's that we love having a goal, achieving it, and making others proud, which is different from going to the pool and enjoying moving and taking care of your body. Maarten was a lot like competitive swimmers in that way, but he had more talent and a lot more focus. He became a national champion of the Netherlands in the 400 and the 1500. Then he became a national champion in the 5-kilometer open water swimming. His swimming trajectory was ready for takeoff. In 2001, Maarten's bone marrow started making too many lymphocytes, a type of white blood cells. These were abnormal and there were just too many. So just a few months after becoming national champion, he was diagnosed with acute lymphocytic leukemia, a type of cancer in the blood. The doctor told him that he had 30 to 50% chance of surviving the treatment. During the treatment, he stopped thinking about swimming. All he cared about was surviving. He says he got lucky. Treatment went well and he was cured. After half a year in the hospital, he said swimming wasn't a priority for him anymore. So he decided to live his life like it was his last day. But he said that it got boring really quickly. If you are a long-time viewer of this channel, you would probably understand him better because you're probably obsessed with improving and imagining a better future. Maarten couldn't just enjoy the fact that he was alive and just live in the present. He had to come up with something meaningful and difficult to do. Maarten started swimming again. Before the treatment, he could swim 100 meters in 55 seconds. Now, his best effort was 135. Even if you don't know anything about swimming, you know that going almost twice as slow might be frustrating. Week after week, he started swimming better. On this channel, we have talked a lot about swimming faster and with the best swimming technique so you don't get tired. But Maarten has a much simpler approach, but much more difficult. If he wants to swim better, he swims more. He started swimming a lot more. I don't think this is the healthiest approach, but it is important that you know what some swimmers have to sacrifice to become Olympic swimmers. He swam 7 hours a day and spent 15 hours a day in an altitude tent. The tent works by reducing the amount of oxygen available, simulating the thin air found at high altitudes. This causes the body to produce more red blood cells to compensate for the lower oxygen levels. Similar with what you will feel with our breathing course, but this is a whole new level of commitment. He spent every minute of every day in preparation for the Olympics. I don't think anyone that hasn't read this book would even believe that he spent 15 hours a day in a tent and 7 hours a day swimming. Most people would get depressed spending 3 hours a day in the pool. But he said after cancer, what he chose to do with his life was to swim. It wasn't to impress anyone or to make his parents happy. He made the decision to swim. So even though he knew it was a crazy lifestyle, he says it wasn't difficult. He broke up with his girlfriend because he was too focused on the Olympics. He would later marry her and form a family together. But before that, the results of the training started showing. In 2004, he did a marathon swim of 22 kilometers and broke the record by 15 minutes. he collected a prize of 50,000 euros, which he donated to cancer research. In 2005, he won the national championship in the 400 free. 2 years later, he became the world champion in the 25 kilometers world championship race. But at the Olympics, there wasn't a 25 kilometer race. In fact, this would be the first time the 10 kilometer open water would take place at the Olympics. So in order to qualify for the Olympics, he had to perform well in the 10 kilometers. And he did. He got fourth. With just a few months to compete, Maarten knew he wasn't the fastest. He got fourth just a few months ago. He didn't have expectations to get a medal. His thoughts were, we will see. He wasn't nervous because it was just another day at the office, giving it his best effort. The effort and pain were very familiar to him. The only thing that was different was the pressure, which he didn't feel that much because he wasn't expected to get a medal. His strategy was a little crazy, but simple and risky. He would stay in the back of the pack for almost the whole race while the others were fighting to get in front. He would stay behind the favorites David Davis and Thomas Luers until the very end. The other two would fight very hard to stay in front. Maarten went a little to the side and sprinted to the end. I will leave a link in the description if you want to watch the whole race. To us, this moment seems like it would be the happiest day of his life. He achieved a goal that he worked unfathomably hard to achieve. He said, I was obsessed with my goal, and now it was gone. He celebrated after the race, but the next day he felt a little ill and a bit lost. As spectators and admirers of Olympic athletes, we cannot even believe the physical and mental challenges they go through. It is even harder to accept that an Olympic gold medal doesn't give you eternal fulfillment and happiness. It is understandable if we look into the brain chemicals. Your reward are these 3 chemicals, but they don't last forever. It's not naturally possible for them to stay high and feel amazing for a long time. The next day, Maarten thought, it's the morning. I used to swim in the morning. So he went to the swimming pool and did some laps. That is crazy. The gold medal did not fix all of Maarten's problems. For years later, he had a feeling of survivor's guilt. He met incurable ill cancer patients and thought, it's not fair that I survived. For him, it was just a matter of luck that there was a cure for his type of cancer and not for others. He did a lot of voluntary work for cancer research, but he wanted to do more. There are a lot of ways to get attention of giant crowds of people. Usually, you have to do something no one else has done. It has to be something that seems impossible. Maarten had already done what is impossible for most of us, but he wanted to suffer even more in order to help more. In May of 2017, Maarten attempted to set the 24-hour swimming world record in Amsterdam, but falling short of the record. Despite this, he raised $8,500 for cancer research. The next year, he successfully broke the world record by swimming 102 kilometers in 24 hours. Maarten attempted to swim 200 kilometers to fundraise for cancer research. However, due to poor water quality and illness, he had to stop after 163 kilometers. Despite this, he raised over 5 million euros. A year later, he made a second attempt, this time completing it in 72 hours and 4 minutes. He raised over 6 million euros for cancer research. Now he has his own foundation. This year, he will do a triathlon of 600 kilometers, and you're all invited to join. I don't understand Dutch so well, so you'll have to check it out for yourself and tell Google to translate. It will take place from the 18th to the 24th of June. I found out a little bit too late, but what do you think? Should I join next year's event? Maarten, the lucky swimmer, has done the seemingly impossible several times. He does this for money and fame, which he uses to help others less fortunate than him. For that reason, history, at least YouTube swimming history, should remember Maarten. More information about his foundation in the description of the video. If you want to watch another amazing story, click here. See you there. Swim fast.